microfone. Olá a todos, sejam muito bem-vindos a mais um LABTALKS. Quem está aqui comigo, deixa eu só ver quantas pessoas online, 42 pessoas online no evento de hoje. Vamos esperar só mais um pouquinho de gente entrar e a gente já começa. 42, 43, enfim. Tá, espera mais um pouquinho. 15 segundos, 10 segundos, a gente já começa o nosso evento de hoje com grandes participantes que estão já esperando aqui na sala. Não na minha sala, na sala deles, no caso, porque tá todo mundo de casa. Não sei se vocês notaram, mas tem diferenças, tem mudanças aqui no nosso estúdio, especialmente preparado para o LABTALKS. Agora tem não, é desse lado. Tem um querido bichinho do Pac-Man, que eu adquiri recentemente, porque a galera em casa com cartão de crédito, você sabe que compra online é o que mais rola. Então a gente está aqui melhorando o nosso estúdio, colocando coisa nova para poder trazer um evento muito bacana para você. 51 pessoas. Então vamos lá. Para quem não me conhece, eu sou o Gustavo Vitula, eu sou designer no MediaTek Lab, que é o laboratório de inovação da tecnologia da Globo. Por aqui a gente usa muita tecnologia, muita coisa legal para poder idear, conceber e desenvolver novos produtos e novas experiências que vão posicionar a Globo como uma empresa MediaTek, conferência em MediaTek. Então, a gente está na nossa 12ª edição, é a segunda 100% online, a gente já fez uma primeira no mês passado, que foi super legal. Para quem não sabe, o LABTALKS é o nosso encontro mensal sobre tecnologia, inovação, criatividade, em que a gente reúne muita gente boa para poder conversar sobre esses assuntos. E para mais essa edição 100% online, eu tenho um time de gente muito boa. Cacife hoje está alto. A gente está trazendo o Michael Kaplan, ele é diretor global de mídia e entretenimento na NVIDIA, que tem uma parceria muito forte com a Globo, principalmente com o nosso laboratório, que todo mundo deve conhecer por aqui, né? O que é a NVIDIA. Eles não atuam só no mercado de games, mas também várias outras soluções para a indústria do entretenimento, indústria petrolífera, financeira, saúde, manufatura, IoT. E recentemente eles estão com um esforço muito grande em tecnologias novas tendências, trazendo muita coisa de inteligência artificial, deep learning e analytics, justamente para poder se posicionar como empresa referência nesse meio. E para poder conversar com o Michael, a gente tem aqui o Pablo Bioni, grande Pablo Bioni. Ele é gerente de P&D em computação gráfica e visual aqui no MediaTek Lab. Então a gente tem hoje conteúdo em dose dupla. A gente vai conhecer um pouquinho sobre como o nosso time de pesquisa e desenvolvimento em computação gráfica usa essas tecnologias emergentes nas inovações que a gente vê nos produtos Globo. Ó, é o seguinte, se você tem qualquer tipo de pergunta, é só perguntar aqui no chat. Nossa, dessa vez eu acertei, ó, para onde aponta, aqui na direita. Podem fazer várias perguntas, a gente vai perguntar para o Michael, vai perguntar para o Pablo, então fiquem super tranquilos, todas as perguntas, ou pelo menos a maioria delas, vão ser respondidas. A gente vai selecionar as principais para poder responder aqui. Para quem acabou de chegar, compartilha a live nos seus grupos de trabalho, nos grupos dos amigos, nos grupos da família, e vamos juntar muita gente boa por aqui. Então é com essa introdução que eu passo a palavra para você, grande Pablo Bioni.
Muito boa noite, pessoal. Prazer enorme estar aqui com vocês nessa live do LABTALK. Eu diria que reunindo os maiores nomes da computação gráfica do país.
Boa!
Brincadeiras à parte.
Quem entendeu a referência, entendeu.
Quem entendeu, entendeu. Quem não entendeu, já viu, né? Então, assim, primeiro, muito obrigado. É um prazer muito grande estar fazendo parte desse projeto, do laboratório. E para a gente, especificamente para mim, é um prazer muito grande poder falar, inclusive, de uma parceria, né? Como você falou logo no início, a NVIDIA, eu lido e trabalho com o aspecto de computação gráfica, né? Desde a época da faculdade, quando eu comecei a trabalhar justamente na indústria de óleo e gás, né? De lá eu saí trabalhar na Petrobras, né, fazendo essa parte de visualização de campos, essa coisa toda, ajudava nessa área, e depois eu caí na parte mais que eu me encontrei mais, que foi a parte de fato, mídia e entretenimento, né? E ao longo do tempo, a gente, dentro da Globo, né, dentro do MediaTek, a gente foi desenvolvendo uma série de projetos que contavam com um poder computacional de uma maneira muito diferente. Quer dizer, a gente vem de um histórico onde a computação gráfica ela acontece de uma maneira de pós-produção, né? Então, esse é o meu histórico. Tudo que era computação gráfica, tudo que era efeito visual que a gente fazia, era pós-processado. Tudo era produzido, depois disso processado com softwares, pacotes de computação gráfica conhecidos, e depois disso ia para o ar, né? Assim que são feitos filmes, a maioria deles. E de uns anos para cá, a gente vem trabalhando muito forte num tema que é chamado Next Gen VFX. E essa nova geração de efeito visual, ele contempla, né, uma aproximação do que é a computação gráfica conhecida como pós-produção, né? Então a gente tem um time muito grande trabalhando nisso e o processamento gráfico tornou-se muito importante, porque quando o processador gráfico ele deixou de desempenhar exclusivamente o trabalho gráfico puro e passou a servir também como uma unidade de processamento, tal como um processador de um computador convencional, né? Ele passou a ser também um processador que acopla ao trabalho mais rápido. Ele revolucionou um dos mercados que a gente começou a usar com força, que é o mercado de deep learning, né? A parte de processamento de dados e aprendizagem, parte de inteligência artificial. Então, a gente vem desenvolvendo uma série de trabalhos dentro do nosso laboratório, sendo eles, por exemplo, Deep Humans, né, humanos virtuais de inteligência artificial por dentro, que é em parceria de outros membros, até do laboratório, equipe do Daniel e tal. A tua equipe também, né, Vitor? Tem ajudado também muito a gente. E além disso daí, a gente tem uma outra vertente, que é a parte de esporte, que está muito para a gente agora, né? A gente está focando muito nessa questão de esporte. Até um spoiler aqui que eu tenho atrás da minha tela, que vocês vão ver em breve, em algum momento. Então, assim, tem muita coisa que a gente já está lançando. E a quarentena para a gente foi exatamente um momento que a gente pôde experimentar muito e ser até mais produtivo, eu diria, sobre esse aspecto.
Pablo and Gustavo, thank you. Obrigado por se juntar a mim.
Get
started now with my slide.
Okay.
All right. Can everybody see that now?
It's working.
Perfect.
We can start
Perfect.
right now.
Awesome. So my name is Michael Kaplan, and I head up our business development efforts in the media entertainment space. I hope that many of you know who NVIDIA is. You might know us because where's McDonald's? And when you ask that a question, or Alexa or Google, they all process that information with NVIDIA technology that we call a GPU, or a graphics processing unit. So today, what I'm going to go over are some of the things that we're seeing in the media and entertainment industry. I'm going to start with a little bit of a high-level overview of NVIDIA as a company, and then I'll get into specifics on media and entertainment. Where does artificial intelligence start to play in? What are we doing with rendering on the GPU? And then in the times that we're living in now, where we're not sure when we're going to go back to the office, and even when we do go back to the office, it might be a little bit different, and some people may always work from home. I'll talk a little bit about our virtual workstation stories and how we do computation in a virtual mode. So let's get started with an update on NVIDIA. So like I said, you might know us from previous work. You might use us for gaming, right? And we started about 26 years ago as a gaming company, but we have totally transitioned and transformed ourselves into a computing platform company. And computing could be done for, mathematical problems. It could be done for, designing a vehicle. It could be done for doing an animated character or a graphic on a lower third. All of these efforts in a computer system takes a very, very high level of processing power. And NVIDIA, we've really turned into this type of computational monster. What you're looking at right now is a picture of our brand new headquarters in Santa Clara, California. Now, we're very good at graphics. And when you take a look at this picture, the only thing that's real is the picture on the left. The picture on the right hasn't been completed yet. That's an architectural rendering of what it will look like when it's finished. So we use our own technology to even do a slide like this. So what we've done as a company, we've kind of taken graphics, we've taken high performance computing, or HPC, and we've taken artificial intelligence, and we've put that all into the same technology that is the GPU. There are components on that card that enable acceleration on all three of those things that I mentioned: graphics and ray tracing, high compute, computation, and artificial intelligence to do very, very fast inferencing as well as training on the graphics card. As a company, we really think that there's a new era of visual effects, and your customers, and our customers really expect more and more and more. We've been working on what we call RTX for almost 10 years, and it finally came to the market 2 years ago, and it will continue to get better. When you guys go to watch movies or you watch a television with effects in it, you expect amazing content. And as I showed you in the last slide or 2 slides ago, even when you're designing a building or you're designing an automobile, that realism and the photoreal nature of a graphic is so important. We believe RTX technology is really making a change in the industry. And I'll quickly just talk about this. You may have heard about 6 months ago something that we call Omniverse. Omniverse is actually a collaboration. It's a collaboration environment or a collaboration platform. What I mean by that is, imagine that all of you folks are anywhere you want to be, at your house, in Sao Paulo, in New York City, in Los Angeles, in London. You could all be using an application like Maya or Premiere Pro or Photoshop or Nuke. And you're going to use what we call Omniverse to be able to look in real time at the work that everybody's adding to a scene. So somebody could be working on the background landscape. Somebody could be working on the animated character and change the color or change the lighting. And we all see it in a real-time window that we call Omniverse. Omniverse will be used for architecture. There's more opportunity to be collaborative and to be able to share information in a real-time environment. There's been no better time than what we're facing now to realize how important technology like this is.
So Michael,
yes,
give me just some seconds, then I'm gonna back with you with a question, okay?
Okay, sure.
Eu acho legal, assim, dentro dessa apresentação que o Michael tem feito até agora do posicionamento da NVIDIA, e uma pergunta que eu sempre gosto de fazer, né, quando a gente observa essa parte da computação gráfica e mesmo a evolução, é que, se você reparar, a maioria das coisas que ele está mostrando aqui para a gente acaba sendo um material que é de tempo real, né? Então, a abordagem que vem sendo feita em cima do uso da placa gráfica é muito em cima de uma introdução de tempo real. E assim, na verdade, ele agora explicou, né, do conceito do Omni, né, do Omniverse, que acaba trazendo para a gente uma plataforma, né, baseada em que você consegue criar coisas junto com outras pessoas e vendo isso de forma conjunta, mas ainda num aspecto profissional, né? E aí eu vou querer saber com ele dessa tecnologia agora, como é que isso pode se relacionar também com uma estrutura interativa que comece a trazer a gente, né, para um segundo universo super realístico, que seja, por exemplo, um Second Life turbinado usando realidade virtual, né? Existem algumas empresas, inclusive, que elas já trabalham, né, universos tal, universo, aquilo. Da mesma maneira que você tem hoje plataformas que você assiste tua televisão.
Pablo, seu mic está falhando.
Até onde será? Bom, eu...
Pablo, falhou de novo. Tá no Skype, não tá vindo.
Vamos lá,
Voltou,
então. Segue aí, segue no Michael que eu tive
Pode fazer
problema.
faz a pergunta agora.
Okay, so Michael,
Yes.
let me just ask you something about the technology you're providing us.
Sure.
You believe that the way that NVIDIA is, and all the technology world is evolving, do you think that's going to be, how far are you going to be about to find a computational world that turn in a real universe? I mean, you guys are providing technology so I can live.
So you're cutting out a little bit on the audio. Gustavo, can you hear everything that's being said?
No, but I think you? Okay, I'm just trying to fix it. I think that the problem is in Pablo's mic. Michael, I think that we can go on with the presentation. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Because I actually, I've learned so much. I wanted to say alguma pergunta, but I guess I can't do that. I have to keep moving. So let me move on. Artificial intelligence in media entertainment. So here's a quote from a report that said 60% of media and broadcast organizations like you are telling people that they're going to deploy or have already deployed artificial intelligence in the next 2 to 3 years. If anybody recently saw the movie The Irishman and the de-aging, where you could take an actor like Al Pacino or Robert De Niro, and ILM was able to have them look 20 years younger, all through artificial intelligence using GPUs. We really think that this is something that's going to start to happen every place. From a big picture standpoint, here are some of the areas that we see it impacting media and entertainment. Obviously, the first one, with AI being able to really personalize an experience for each viewer, knowing what you like from a content standpoint, knowing what you don't like, knowing what ads you like, being able to potentially predict what the impact to an audience would be. And I'll show a slide a little bit later that does just that. You could actually start to do QC and quality control with artificial intelligence. And then moving on, what could you do with augmented content creation tools like DaVinci Resolve, using NVIDIA technology to accelerate their pipeline, Autodesk Flame, using NVIDIA technology and artificial intelligence to accelerate what they're doing. And I'll talk a little bit about that in time. And then even when a customer of yours or of some of your distribution partners potentially get calls about with an unhappy customer, maybe the call center process and the whole support process can be improved with artificial intelligence. So when we talk about it, right, and when I would come in and talk to you guys, it's sort of like it's a question of what is the artificial intelligence going to be? Meaning, is something present or not? We need to detect it. And that's an example would be object detection. Going down, like, what is the likely outcome? Are you going to like this show? Are you going to hate this show? That's prediction. If you're starting to do more content over the air, what are you going to recommend to me based on my viewing habits? That's sort of a recommendation type task for artificial intelligence. So as you know, There's content going everywhere, and that's all about training. So once you can train what your customers and what your own habits are, then the AI begins to get smarter and smarter, and all of these tasks, whether it's detection, classification, prediction, recommendation, start to get better and better as time goes on. So here's a pretty good example of a company called JD.com. So what they do, this is like an e-commerce. They had like 1,000 channels of 1080p streams. And what this was doing, it was using software from NVIDIA called DeepStream, and they were actually doing content filtering, right? So sometimes you can't air certain content. Sometimes it could be language, or you may not have the rights to show a brand. So what they were doing with this many feeds, they were actually to, in real time, take a look and cut out any content that wasn't able to be shown. So they used our software development kit, or SDK, called DeepStream, and then they used TensorRT, which is another type of tool that NVIDIA gives out to the market to kind of create this. They were doing it on GPU technology, and they were getting probably up to 20 times the throughput versus a CPU-only type situation. So real-time inferencing on 1,000 channels, so they do not get into any type of problems with content filtering. A great example. Another one, which I talked to just 2 slides ago, making better movie decisions. So Disney is the customer of ours that actually will use artificial intelligence to see what the reaction of the viewers are. So in this picture, everybody's smiling, I guess because it's a Disney movie. Everybody loves Disney movies. But let's say the girls and the ladies in this video were scared. Then Disney might think about having to change the character and do something different with the emotion or the look of an animated character or a real person character. So they're using artificial intelligence based on early feedback to see what they might need to do for better experience for the viewer. The next one, I'm a customer of Comcast. So when I'm at my house, I will pick up my remote control and I'll say, hey, Comcast, NBA basketball with the Boston Celtics, because I'm a Boston Celtics fan. And it understands what I'm saying, and with artificial intelligence and natural language processing, it's able to pull up in its browser the exact game that I'm looking for. Another great case of artificial intelligence in the media entertainment. And all of this is what Amazon's been doing with training data. So they have learned what words are, and they've used our GPUs to train that Alexa system to understand everything that you're saying. I look at artificial intelligence in media entertainment as content curation. And what I mean by curation is sifting through a bunch of data so that it results with the Boston Celtics, or it talks about what the weather is, or where the closest gas station is. Then there's content creation, what you guys do. You create television, you create content. Yes. Artificial intelligence is being used for that as well. So this is a great example of, like I said, black magic. They use something called the Da Vinci neural engine. And what the neural engine does is it uses AI to actually power features such as warp motion, and it does estimates of what upscaling should be in footage. It does auto color correction. And all of this is done in addition to something like facial recognition, because they're training a neural network on NVIDIA GPU technologies, so you as a customer of theirs can take advantage of it, right? You guys may not want to do your own programming, but don't worry about it. With companies like Blackmagic, they're doing it for you, right? Autodesk Flame, I bet you use Flame as well. So they have something that they're doing with depth map generation to enable a Z depth map and to do analysis on what it should be. And without the human being actually having to work on that or produce that information, they themselves are applying it, figuring out a visual effect shot and doing it for you with artificial intelligence. They can continue to do like accurate color adjustments, they can do relighting, and they can start to do cosmetic and beauty retouching, all with AI. Another great example. And I think something that might even be more relevant to like content creation If we can no longer put like 30 people on a set, then you might have to start thinking about digital humans, right? So this is an example of a partner of ours and a customer, Digital Domain. And Doug Roble was a person that actually works at Digital Domain that really just videoed a ton of himself and the facial recognition and motion capture, on and on and on. And over time, with thousands of GPU hours, they were able to create a realistic digital human. And I, when you take a look at it, I'm not sure how good the content is on Skype, but when I'm looking at it, the skin detail, the hair, this looks pretty awesome. Now, he's a scary individual. I don't know that I'd want to see him sitting next to me, but you could almost imagine that with this technology, you could almost start to insert digital human characters into a scene if you can no longer put 30 to 40 people on set. So machine learning and GPU acceleration is something that can be enabled. Whether you guys are doing it yourselves or you rely on Blackmagic or Autodesk to do it, it all kind of starts with a software stack. And we call the ecosystem of AI CUDA-X for artificial intelligence. So CUDA, it's a software stack that we have to make applications run faster on our technology. And we start building up on top of it with open source software and application software so that you guys or the developer that you're using, Autodesk, Blackmagic, Foundry, Avid, Adobe, and they do it too, they take advantage of our technology to make sure you guys can also take advantage for content creation. So let's say we start talking to you guys, right? We're going to kind of be consultative. Our local team down there will work with you. And we kind of talk to you about, like, what is the journey of artificial intelligence? It has to mean more than talking to my cell phone. And you just saw some examples of how media entertainment customers are using it. So we would come in and find out, who do you have on your team? Is your management okay with going forward in something like this? We have opportunities like what we call the Deep Learning Institute, where you guys can start to take classes. We could bring people on site, or you could do it online, just to get you, better and more comfortable with this whole concept of artificial intelligence. So this is a good opportunity for you guys. Sometimes customers aren't really ready. So what we can do is we work and do it yourself. We will line you up with established companies today, possible startup companies you might want to partner with in the future to make sure that your artificial intelligence journey is the best that it can be. Pablo, before I go on to rendering, are there any questions on AI that I can answer?
I don't know if my mic is okay already.
It's okay. It's working.
I think it's better now, yes.
Because I really don't know what happened. So
okay,
it might be something very mysterious. I mean, so just about the way that we are doing the real time. It's pretty interesting. So do you believe that those CG things that we are doing real time can be complemented with the AI? So we're gonna have some kind of deep humans, deep characters that could integrate both emotion and how far we are. Doug Roble is the one that we talk a lot in the past, and he finds something amazing when he create the digital dog. How far do you believe that kind of training, and that's all proprietary from Digital Domain, gonna be expanded to a public and the way that we are going to produce and have self-content being created by a public, someone that reach house and decide, okay, so I want to see drama, and then we have something being generated in that way.
Well, that's a great question. And like you said, Digital Domain, they did it, right? So are they going to keep it? Or are they going to open it up and maybe charge people for it? They could maybe do it as a service. But remember the last slide, like look at the slide that's on here right now. Do you have data scientists and researchers, right? They did. right? They did a lot of this machine learning training themselves. Not every company can do that. But if you have the ability to, what they did wasn't really magic. They just actually got deep into machine learning, and they used as much compute power as they could, and their results were awesome. Now, I don't want to downplay. Yes, it was magic. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to belittle the efforts that they did, but there's amazing things going on every day in artificial intelligence. What they did was visually stunning, but that doesn't mean that you could not do the same thing yourself. You guys own a lot of content, right? So you could train on your data, just like they trained on all the data that they owned. And so perhaps there are more companies like Digital Domain that offer it as a service. Potentially in time, you work with a third-party, systems integrator that can do the hard work for you, that can help you do the development, and we can introduce you with some folks. But I think it's going to be real. So, to answer your specific question, I think you will use this type of technology in the future. I don't know how you want to use it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, this is a good point. Vitulo, a gente tem alguma pergunta que queira passar para ele já?
Yes,
ou não?
I have another question from Julio. He's asking how do you think real-time rendering and AI will impact content creation and for broadcasting companies like Global? What do you think about that?
Okay, great question. Let me get into the next slide. Okay, maybe. So now, like real time, there's two types of rendering, right? You've got like Final Frame, which is the software like RenderMan and Redshift and Arnold and Octane Render. Those are, you can bake it Final Frame render, put it to a GPU or in the past a CPU render farm. Come back tomorrow morning, see what the results are. Now in broadcast, with partners of NVIDIA like Zero Density that are taking advantage of the Unreal Engine or the Unity Engine, now you have real-time render technology that is coming into broadcast. So like Zero Density or Brainstorm, right? And it's kind of happening from both directions. VizRT, with their latest engine, is getting more and more real-time. And Unreal is kind of coming into the traditional audio world and becoming a little bit more like broadcast rendering. So I think you'll use both. I don't know that you'll implement it, just like we said about artificial intelligence. I think you'll find a partner, whether that's a traditional on-air graphics person or company like Viz or Chiron, or you might look at somebody like a Zero Density that's doing a little bit more real time. But those worlds are coming together without a doubt. So this is just a quick thing. What we've done, and remember what I talked about RTX quickly in like one of the first slides? RTX technology took us forever. We finally introduced it about 18 months ago. And what it did is it takes advantage of ray tracing. And ray tracing, let's say the last Pixar movie, and you guys know that in film, there's 24 frames in 1 second. In television, there's 30 frames in 1 second. So one frame of a Pixar movie in CPU rendering could take maybe 2 weeks, if you can believe it, but it's true because it takes that long. And to shrink the time, they'll just throw more money at it and more CPUs. What we recently did is we worked with all these third-party software companies to have them write to the GPU. So Arnold, one of the bigger rendering packages out there today, Chaos V-Ray, Octane Render, Redshift, and soon, by the end of the year, Pixar RenderMan. These major ISV software packages are starting to take advantage of GPU. This is a quote from the founder of a company and a partner of ours in London, Unit Media, right? And they actually had a huge win with GPU technology with a software partner called Redshift, kind of changed their whole pipeline of how quickly they could start to get things done. In the old days, with CPU only, you would hit enter, you'd leave for the night, you'd come back, and you'd hope that shot was perfect, because if it wasn't, you'd have to start that whole render job again. With GPU acceleration and the right software package, you can start to get things done in seconds and minutes rather than days. And we're super excited where this is going. Typically, right, here are the biggest problems that you guys might face. And I know that this is a little bit more like computer graphics and not really on-air graphics, but it's render times, right? Like I said, it could be 24 hours to 2 weeks based on the scene, based on the effects that you have in it. That's a problem. Second one, even for television viewers, you don't want your viewers looking at bad material, and because their expectations are really, really high, right? They see so much good content every day that they know when it's not really good. And I don't think they're going to accept it. And then obviously you can't continue to spend and spend. You've got to have a data center that's right. And with GPU technology, the cost savings based on the time you're going to save on a render job is amazing. So we think we're going to help with the speed, we're going to help with getting great content put together, and we're going to ultimately help in the cost. Just another quick thing back to Unit, because we really love them. We just did a blog about them. So check it out, right? This is something where, as the slide says, 1 hour, just 1 hour went down to 1 minute with Redshift. So think about that. Think about how much time you could save. Think about how much more content you could develop if you could speed up a 1 hour job and turn it into a 1 minute job, right? And it's going to get better and better, and the visual quality is amazing. So we are super excited about rendering. And when you take a look at this slide, I've got everybody. Look at the bottom of the slide. I have Unreal Engine there. I've got Unity there. And throughout the slide, I've got Redshift, and I've got Weta Digital and RenderMan and Arnold, everybody, and Adobe. So it could be a real-time engine or a game engine. They're taking advantage of RTX technology, and all the other companies, right? On this slide, it doesn't need to only be media entertainment, because you could be designing a car and you want photoreal materials, and we're working with Works and CATIA and Siemens NX. So renderers might you have on that before I move to the virtualization section?
Pablo, you don't have a mic. I think that we can move on, Michael.
Okay, perfect. So now I'll talk about virtual workstations and what we do in that industry. Obviously, as soon as you guys had to go home from the office, this became a serious situation.
Yes.
Hopefully, right? It is, right? And hopefully you could have picked up your workstation or picked up a laptop and you just go home. Hopefully your connections to the office are good enough that you can actually do real work. But this became a huge problem on one day for thousands of companies, right? So we actually approach it, and we've been doing virtualization for quite some time. And we think that in media entertainment, we're now at a point where it's working, right? We have a lot of partners in the ecosystem. I think media entertainment, based on how hard it is with the things that we do, and we do hard things. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of resources. And it took a while for virtualization to catch on, but we're now doing a lot of great virtualization work with companies like DNEG and NBC and ABC and Disney and on and on and on. A lot of major companies in broadcast and content creation are starting to do virtualization, and that actually had them ready for the situation they just got themselves into, right?
Yes.
So think about it. Like I said, right? Like
Absolutely.
I said, when you take a look at what do you need to do now, right? You have more demands on your content. We just talked about that. It's a competitive space, right? There are startups, and I know my kids they're kind of old. You can maybe see the gray in my beard. I don't want to tell you how old I am, but my kids don't really turn the TV on anymore. They watch everything on their phone and on their computers. Different landscape today, right? But you guys have to keep churning out and producing content as fast as you can, right? GPU rendering, what are we going to do? And enhance security. You might be doing some things in the cloud. You might be doing things in your data center where you have people remoting into it. So everything starts to matter on this slide. And this whole virtualization story really starts to make sense, right? Virtualization for us and the solutions that we deliver could be for folks that are just doing PowerPoint presentations like I am right now, or it could be people doing Photoshop and simple Illustrator work, or even web browsing. We speed that up. And then you get into kind of the power users like you guys are. It could be lighting with Katana, it could be compositing, it could be nonlinear editing, real-time engines. That's hard stuff. You actually need great acceleration in a GPU stack to get that work done. And that's what we do when we virtualize the GPU. I had referenced this just about 2 minutes ago, but DNEG, what a great company and what a great partner of ours. They're doing a few things. They're taking advantage of RTX rendering acceleration, and they're also a fully virtualized environment. So in this situation, what just happened, when they had to go home in the UK, and they're actually all over the globe, they had virtualization in place. So their artists that were used to having a heavy-duty workstation under their desks could still get that same level of performance from a server with NVIDIA GPU technology and our virtual desktop workstation software. It was really, really a good opportunity with what just happened. So virtual workstation, right? We make sure that your productivity continues to increase. You take advantage of all the software partners that are in the market that are doing it today, so that your rendering is faster, your editing is faster, your compositing and your lighting is faster. And then we let you do it from a thin client. You could do it from a tablet if you needed to. So the way you use it could change. And let's say that you want to kind of put some of that server to your best and most hungry users. You can augment the server in real time to throw more resources at a group than what you thought you had. And then again, the more you put to the GPU, you have one concept that we introduced a while ago, but it kind of ties everything together that I've said so far.
Michael, there's a question here.
Go for it. Go.
It's beside photorealism, how do you think AI could support achieving a more natural behavior? Talking about virtual characters animation, I mean, yes. How do you think it's gonna achieve?
Well, I mean, it will achieve it. So I'll start with like bad news, right? You guys have probably all gone on the internet and you can search for like deep fakes, right? Where you see that, somebody's mouth is moving and it really wasn't that person. It's a deep fake. Have you heard of that technology?
For sure. We are even using it.
That's right. That's right. So in a way, you can, with AI, if somebody's sad or if somebody's happy, you can start to, because you know what a happy face looks like. So you could, through like a deep fake, you could actually, turn a smile onto a character. So you will start to do sentiment analysis. You will start to be able to maneuver a character's mouth and look. It could be a surprise look. It could be a sad look. And artificial intelligence based on training data could be implemented for that. I think a better use of artificial intelligence technology is to spot a deep fake so that it never really, so people realize it's not true, but it's being used. And think about it, like I said in the beginning, The Irishman. If you haven't seen that movie, it's 3 hours, so just prepare yourself. It's a long movie. I liked it, but it's 3 hours, so plan for it. But when you look at what they did with these characters, and all of that, Pablo, was done without any motion tracking on the face. They built out cameras with AI technology, and based on training of footage from those characters 20 and so what you're talking about absolutely it happened. We just saw a movie that did it. So there's no doubt it's going to continue.
Got it. Super thank you. Says for now, Gemiro, this one.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, you have to do is train, which typically takes a lot of GPUs. But then it's about inference. So what are you doing to once the computer trained, you want it to know smile. You want it to know sadness as fast as possible. So not only can you train on a GPU, which you really should, but you can also do inference or the understanding on a GPU and get a lot faster results too. So think about like edge computing. You could be on your phone, and now these telephone companies want to put like smart devices on the edge so that even if you're watching content on a phone, you can maybe start to do some AI there. So data center training, edge computing, all of these things start to line up right now. This slide, and I don't really want to be very product on this call, and we're almost to the end of the call. This was a concept we rolled out about 1.5 years ago, and it's a reference architecture. RTX server, which is the RTX ray tracing, artificial intelligence. We give these GPUs to our partners, Supermicro, HPE, Dell, Cisco, Asus, the list goes on. Probably every server vendor that you're using can do this. And it's a way to kind of build out a data center, or you could use the cloud because there's RTX technology in most cloud service providers today. But it's one platform that you can start to do rendering on. You could start to virtualize on it too. So you can, like I said about virtualization, you now have a server that can do it. You can start to do artificial intelligence and data science training on it. If you ever wanted to get to AR, VR and start to have shows or content on a phone, another great platform. So I'm not going to go really too much into it other than I just wanted to show this to you, that it's something to maybe start to ask questions about, because if any of these little bubbles on this chart is something that you're either doing today or you think that you need to do in the future, platform that you talk with any of your favorite OEM server providers who could implement this technology, right? Another good thing for you guys, because you're all staying at home. This year, we couldn't have people attend because of the pandemic. But what we did is we turned it into a digital conference, which is even better for us. Because normally, if you were to visit, and you guys have gone before, so thank you for that, we were expecting 10,000 people to go to GTC this year in California. With digital GTC, we've had over 40,000 people log in and do sessions. So your local team, Marcio and his group, can kind of help you with this information. Registration is free, but as soon as you register, you can get access to all these information. We talk about artificial intelligence for denoising in render jobs to speed those up. There's AI type stuff. So amazing information. Please, please, please sign up for this and make sure that you spend some personal time, hopefully with the beverage, because right now you should be having a beer because it's almost 8 o'clock. But you'll have a chance to go to GTC Digital and learn as much as you can and get as much training as possible. With that slide, gentlemen, obrigado. I appreciate the time tonight.
Well, it's amazing. Super thank you, man. It was a excellent presentation. And also the GTC being online is something that is amazing. Do you believe that the next one, you believe that's going to be the digital version as well? I mean, the people could attend?
I think so, right? I mean, at least there will always be a digital component. Jensen, our leader, he is super safe, right? We're doing everything we can in the healthcare environment to try to cure COVID. And we're really focused on that. And I just think, just from a safety standpoint, it's good to get together and network, but gosh, we always want to be careful. And we're so successful with the digital, Pablo, that I think we'll continue to do it, because why not let 50,000 or 100,000 people get access to the content,
That's it. I believe that. Vitulio, do you think that we have some more questions? I did this one. I did this one before. Sorry.
Yes. Okay.
There's one point I'd like to mention this. There's a company you just mentioned, it's called Claris. It was used to be a high CPU handler, and then they start to change that to GPU as well. That's amazing.
Yes, and actually, DNEG is one of their customers. Claris, Isotropics. It's traditionally not like a final frame render. It's more of like an interactive type render. DNEG actually uses it for final frame. They're like one of the others that does it. But you're right. It was a very CPU heavy type application. And they were one of the first to adopt optics, which is our ray tracing SDK, and one of the first out. So we super exciting company. It looks fast and it looks good. We're just excited about, today Octane announced RTX acceleration. Arnold is out with RTX acceleration. Redshift, which is GPU accelerated, will soon be RTX accelerated. And like I said, Pixar, I think you guys know that SIGGRAPH is going to be digital as well. Yeah. But Pixar was going to show off their XPU, which is their CPU GPU hybrid software, at SIGGRAPH. So I hope now that it's digital, they still do that. And then if you've ever used RenderMan, then you might want to get on the beta list to get started and tested with that. But we have so many good partners that are taking advantage of RTX that it's funny. You've known me for a while, Pablo, and I think every year that I present to people, I say this is the year of GPU rendering, and as it turns out, I've learned years. So sorry about that. Taking advantage of it, and software partners, like, we have no choice but to be successful.
So, super thank you about that. I think it was a very clarifying presentation, and we enjoyed it a lot. And I hope you can be able to do.
Well, we'd love to do more. Let me just say, temu uma boa noite. Hopefully that meant have a great night.
Yes.
But thank you so much. I appreciate you giving me the time to do this for you guys.
Thank you.
And if you need a copy, I'll make sure Marcio gets a copy, and we'll get you the presentation. But I thank you guys.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you staying up so late and listening to me.
Thank you, Michael.
Super
we
thank
have
you.
Just last question. Julio is asking, do you think that DSS, deep learning super sampling technology, is something that could have applications other than gaming?
I think, right? Maybe, right? We want to make sure it's super successful there, which it is. And as you guys know, as that game engine technology comes more into the production side of the house, perhaps it is. There's an interesting technology that you should take a look at. It's called RTX broadcast. And it's sort of like a green screen removal that it's pretty cool. Now, it's very gamey. It's not like what you guys do on your set because you're a broadcast pro, but it's getting better. And not only does RTX do background removal, if you had RTX technology in your workstations, we also do noise removal with AI. So RTX, take a look at RTX broadcast, search for that, you guys, and search for RTX noise. And you don't even need to have noise canceling headphones. If a dog was barking behind me with RTX noise, you guys wouldn't hear it. So it's really interesting technology. We're using it for so many things ourselves. And I'll say, Pablo, if you're interested, you use what you use for on air. I know it. But if you're interested to get your hands on RTX broadcast just to kind of goof around a little bit, if you sign up, I'll let the product manager know to give it to you guys to just test with. So check it out. You'll look at it and say, yeah, I could see if I'm on Twitch, I get it, but I'm not going to air that stuff. But you might want to just start to play with it.
Perfect. So Michael, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the awesome content and everything. It was really absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, listen, guys, have a great rest of the day, or get to sleep soon because it is late.
Bye-bye.
Right.
See ya.
Bye, guys. See ya. All right.
Bye-bye.
Pessoal, então foi isso. Quem está comigo ainda, a gente tem 60 pessoas, a gente manteve esse número. Bom saber que a galera está super engajada com esse tipo de conteúdo. O MediaTek Lab super agradece a participação de todo mundo que nos prestigiou com esse super conteúdo hoje, na noite de hoje. Se você quer saber sobre os nossos próximos eventos, é só visitar labtalks.redeglobo.com.br. Se você quer saber sobre as novas vagas da Globo, a gente está contratando tanto a Globo quanto a Globo.com e tem interesse em trabalhar com a gente, é só acessar esses links que estão aqui embaixo. Estão aqui embaixo, ó. Tem os links de recrutamento aqui do pessoal do Vem Pra Globo, que é um grande parceiro na realização desse evento com a gente. Então é isso, até a próxima. Se cuidem muito e fiquem em casa quem puder, por favor. Muito boa noite, muito obrigado a todos que participaram até aqui. E um excelente fim de semana, excelente feriado amanhã. E é isso. Muito obrigado. Quer mandar algum recado, Pablo?
Agradecer vocês aí e muito obrigado aí pela participação de todos.
Valeu. Boa noite. Boa noite, Michael. Bye, bye.